Hi, everybody. It's Tony Barger here with the Quality Assurance and Compliance team. We want to welcome you again to another edition of our Compliance Connection video blog series, where we give you information as it relates to the latest and greatest in healthcare compliance. Today, we're going to talk a bit about the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or HIPAA. And we all know that HIPAA, as it relates in our world, really centers around the protection and security of protected health information, or PHI. Forgive me for reading this, but I think it's valuable for us to kind of think about so we remember exactly what PHI is, and that is individually identifiable health information that is transmitted or maintained in any form or medium, whether oral, written or paper, or electronic. It can relate to past, present, or future physical or mental health conditions, and the provision of health or payment for healthcare, which is created and certainly received by us here at Health Pro Heritage. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some helpful hints and ways that you can think about ensuring HIPAA compliance with your everyday practice. So the main thing really is never leaving PHI unattended, whether that may be a paper chart or medical record, faxes, or email, or certainly access to HealthMax. We all know that there are security measures related to HealthMax, including the ability that HealthMax itself will shut down if left unattended for an extended period of time. However, that is not preventative in nature, so certainly best practice would be to log out of HealthMax before leaving, whether it's your iPad, laptop, or desktop computer unattended. We all know there's a need to dispose of PHI properly, again, so it's not left unattended. A way to think about that is, again, if we're dealing with paper records, about taking that to a shred box if that's no longer needed, or certainly is not going to be permanently part of the medical record. But it's also related to fax machines. So if you're using a fax machine to potentially send PHI securely, that you would want to make certain that fax numbers are accurate, that you're using a cover sheet with a confidentiality statement, and certainly that that fax is never left unattended, or certainly left behind once you leave the fax machine. Another big play, I think, with HIPAA and how we're interacting every day is certainly looking at the legitimacy of the person that's requesting information from you, whether or not they're entitled to that information. I think it's always best if our best practice is limiting it to a who needs to know this basis, again, as it relates to legality and certainly HIPAA requirements. Another piece that we have to take into account, and this is certainly in our world in the 21st century, is when we're sending PHI, that we're only using encrypted or secure methods to be able to transmit that information. Again, fax machines may be an option. Again, if you're sending that to a secured location. We do have methods electronically with the use of Box, or certainly secure file transfer. I would always encourage everybody, if there's a question about the best way to go about that process and sending information securely, that you reach out to our IT support team. They're certainly the best ones to talk to in looking at ways to ensure that we're sending information securely. Some last helpful hints to be thinking about is, the principle of never posting PHI in the therapy department, or certainly anywhere where it's an open space where that protected health information relevant to those patients or that patient in particular, that wouldn't be easily accessible by anyone, certainly those that aren't permitted to have it. The other thing is obviously listening to training like this, or attending all required HIPAA in-servicing that occurs, at a minimum, is happening for us here at Health Pro Heritage annually, but your particular community may have additional requirements that you want to ensure that you're following. And then last, and certainly it's not least is, just thinking about the transporting of protected health information. Again, if we're looking at paper records or clinical records, certainly electronic records, whether that may be use of a laptop computer or potentially an iPad device if you're using that, that you want to have your attention or that it's secured in your possession at all times and that you're not leaving that device unattended where others could access it that aren't permitted to. You also, if we're dealing again with paper or hard charts, so to speak, you'd never want to remove those from a community. You certainly would never want to ship those or transport that information away from the community or location where it's readily needed. So I think the big point is that we have the ability to control how we're managing PHI, and it's certainly each of our responsibility to make certain that we're following those practices and ensuring HIPAA compliance each and every day. Some last thoughts I would leave you with are just this, that there's some special attention that we obviously have to play because there's so many arenas that we could be involved in when it comes to HIPAA, and certainly protecting PHI. So be mindful, particularly about when you're sending billing information. If it's information related to insurance eligibility or authorizations or reauthorizations, it could be, and certainly in our skilled nursing facilities, where we're submitting or sending MDS related data or other clinical records that's there. Again, it's absolutely vital that we're using a secure method to be able to send that. And that includes things like a secured fax line, utilizing secure file transfer, or certainly using Box as an option to send information encrypted. If you have any questions or need guidance on that, you can certainly reach out to our IT support team. You can also reach out to your supervisor or certainly a member of the quality assurance and compliance team, and we'd be happy to provide some more guidance to you. So again, I hope you find these video blogs helpful. Please stay tuned for additional resources. One last thing I'd like to share with you is that we do have a HIPAA poster that you can display or have easily accessible to your teams and each of your communities. Certainly reach out to your supervisor for additional information on that, and stay tuned for the next video blog series. Thanks so much, and we'll look forward to talking to everybody soon.